you ready to heal your mind, body, and soul from the inside out? Welcome to the Real Healing Institute show with Michelle Sinclair, divine healer and spiritual teacher, where spiritual transformation meets practical guidance to break free from limiting beliefs, subconscious pain, and energetic blocks. This is a powerful space for those seeking true healing and enlightenment. Michelle's teachings are rooted in her deep study of the Christ letters and the spiritual awakening that came from her unwavering dedication to divine truth. She helps individuals navigate their inner healing journey through subconscious soul healing techniques and spiritual teachings by uplifting the vibrational resonance of our thoughts, words, and actions that shape the very fabric of our lives. It is time to learn the profound understandings of universal love. The Real Healing Institute show starts now. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the podcast. So today we are talking about miracles. Have you ever experienced a miracle in your life? I certainly have, and I'm going to tell you how you can expect even more miracles in your life. First of all, it's truly just by expecting these miracles. So I'm going to tell you a couple stories. When I was younger, I was out with my friends. I'm like in grade 7, and we're at my farm. So I live up in, I don't currently, I live in Sedona right now, but I lived in Canada back when I was a young kid. So on a farm, grew up, there was a little river that went right by our house. And so I go out in a canoe with my friends, and it was really, really windy this one day. So we're out there, and it's so windy that we're trying to get down to the bridge, which is really not that far, of a place to go, maybe, an eighth of a mile or something like this. And we're just trying to get there, but it's so windy, and, we're weak, and we couldn't do it. So we had all attended youth group together. So, I knew, they had, spiritual nature to them. And I had always been this very spiritual type person. So I say to my friends, which might have been odd, guys, we just have to pray and the wind will stop. And they were looked at me kind of funny, like, okay. And I was like, no, for real. You pray and I'll pray and the wind will stop. And so they're like, okay, placating me. And so then the one in the back, she prayed, the next one prayed, and then I prayed, and the wind stopped, immediately stopped. And so then we paddled, got all the way down to the bridge. And as soon as we got to the bridge, wind picks up again, pull our boat out, and we're good to go. So many years had gone on, and I would think about this instance because things like this would happen to me very regularly. I would pray for things, they would happen. I would have my sisters often come to me like, hey, can you pray for this thing? I need this thing. I know when you pray, it works. And I would pray for things, and then it would happen. And so I had always, believed, because people had told me, oh, God listens to you and blah, blah, blah. And so I believed that was really what was happening. But since then, I have discovered exactly why this is happening. And there is actually nothing miraculous about it. It is literally the laws of the universe and how the universe works. So that very first instance, if we go back to when we're in that canoe, why did that happen? It was because I didn't doubt. It was because I had been told, where two or more of you come together, there I am with you, and pray for whatever you want, and it's yours. So somebody told me this, probably at church, I would imagine. And because they told me this, I took it in as that's the truth, and I believed it. And because I believed it, I didn't have any doubt that was attached to it. It therefore happened. So when I spoke these words, because our words are so powerful, when I spoke these words of thank you for stopping the wind so we can get to the bridge, it happened because there was no doubt. So if we look into Christ's message, when, in the Christ letters, he is talking about what actually happens. There's so many things that are missing from the Bible. And when you read them in the Christ letters, you're like, what the heck, man? This is filling in all the gaps. It's filling in all the questions that I had that I didn't even know that I had. And so what he's talking about in there is exactly what I'm telling you guys here today. It is truly that he didn't have any doubt. So when he, made the loaves and the fishes plentiful, he didn't know that that was going to be the result of it. So all these people had been following him around, for hours and hours, and following him out into the desert. And they're like, hey, master, we're hungry. You had us follow you out here, and we've been here for hours listening to you, but now we're hungry. And he was like, oh, yeah, you guys are hungry. Cool. Does anybody have any food here? And there was a little boy who had a couple baskets of fish and loaves. And so he was like, okay, thank you. Can we use this? And so he prayed over it. Now, he did not pray any specific prayer, but he prayed that whatever was needed would be given. And he believed without any doubt that that would be the case. And so that was the case, opened his eyes, passed the baskets around, and there was leftovers. There was leftovers afterwards. But it's because he didn't have any doubt. So often we have this doubt that creeps in, and it truly takes away, first of all, your life force energy, and it depletes you. So let's say that you really want something and you're like, oh, I'm really hoping that this miraculous thing is going to happen. But then you have this doubt that creeps in. If you were to think about how that doubt feels, just think about that for 1 second. What happens when you think about doubt of, oh, I don't know, maybe not? It instantly lowers your energy. It lowers your vibration. You go from this high of, oh, this wonderful thing's going to happen, to this low of, oh, it's not. It literally takes the energy and the wind out of you when you allow this doubt to creep in. And so what happens in this actual process? We're talking about electromagnetism here. Jesus called it reaping and sowing, that you get what you're putting out, and that what you do, what you plant, you will harvest it at some point. But electromagnetism works in this way, that when a charge is sent out, it disappears for some time. Where does it go? Nobody knows. We don't know. But then what happens? It reappears exactly as it was sent out, in the exact same form that it was sent out. So if you speak with conviction, what is going to happen? You're going to get back that energy exactly as it was sent out. Now, here's the thing, and this is deep. Our world, it's not even real. What we are seeing, what we're visibly seeing, is what our senses are reporting back to us, of which it believes it is there. It is reporting back to us based on our beliefs that we hold within our energetic system. And it's showing us things based on the vibration that we hold within us. Have you ever noticed? I imagine that if you're listening to this, you're really into, spiritual nature and personal growth and things along these lines. So have you noticed that when you have these little periods of growth, when you overcome something, that all of a sudden new and different things come into your life? And you're not ordering them on the phone. You're not clicking it up and having it come. They just literally appear into your life. Different things come based on how healed that you are, or on the lessons that you need to learn. Whatever it is that you are embodying, this is what you'll see. This is why, let's say that you're going through a period in your life and you're going through spiritual transformation, and maybe you've had to let some people go. This is typically part of the process, is that we go in and we start to redefine who it is that we actually are, because we realize we've maybe been playing a part. We've maybe been playing a role for quite some time. We've been wearing a mask that's not truly us. Now, why have we done this? We do this because we have wounds in childhood, and when we were younger, that tell us, hey, you as you are is actually not acceptable. And so then we hide these parts of ourselves because we believe that they're unacceptable. And what do? Then we spend the rest of our life, our time, our personal growth sessions trying to get back to that person who we were before we decided to shut these parts of us out and turn these parts off because we didn't think that they were good or that they were acceptable in some way. And so as we start to look at these things and we start to heal these things, we begin to realize, that some people just, they're not our people. They're not for us. And so then we have to let some people go in our life. But here's the wonderful thing about this, is that we make room. We now have the energy, because it takes energy to have relationships. So now we have the energy, and we've told the universe, like, hey, this is done. I'm accepting this, something new, and then something new comes into you. So I say all of that to say this: when you're on this process, here's something that you can let go of now. If you're, at this point, you can let go of the doubt. So why do we not let go of the doubt? Because we've proven to ourselves by having that doubt in the past that we needed to have it, right? So let's say that I'm embodying some type of doubt within me, but I keep speaking and saying, oh, I want this thing, but I actually am putting out this vibration of, it's probably not going to actually happen. What's happening? It's not going to actually happen for me. This is because I'm sending this out. This is what's going to come back. But as soon as I clear away whatever that is that's blocking that, or believing that that's not going to be there, then I'm sending it out in a different form, and it's going to come back in a different form, so much more beneficial to me. So, what happens when we have this feeling of doubt? I'm going to help you to work through this here. I want you to just feel that feeling of doubt. You can do it now, you can think about this later, but as you feel this feeling of doubt within you, what is it telling you? It's telling you, well, this thing happened before. Okay, well, and then this thing happened before. It's giving you information, it's telling you things. It's it's justifying the reason why it's present, right? It's fighting for its life. It's like if somebody's a terrible, terrible friend to you, and you're like, okay, we're going to have to part ways. And they don't want to part ways because they've been really using you because you're a giver. And so they don't want this to end. They are going to justify all of the reasons why, no, don't leave me behind. No, no, no. This is what our doubt does too. So as we talk to our doubt, because this is how we get rid of these things, as we talk to it, we can ask it like, hey, why are you here, man? They'd be like, "Oh, remember that time that we thought that this was gonna happen and it didn't happen? This is why I'm here." Okay. And so then as you start to work through these things and you start to get rid of these things, what you're doing is you are now clearing space. You are illuminating the darkness that is within you, which is the doubt, which is the fear, shining a light on it, illuminating it, and now you're letting that darkness out, basically becoming aware of it, giving it a voice, saying, "Hey, I recognize that you're here and you can't stay anymore." And as we let these things go, and we now have more room in our energetic system for more light to come in. So then once we get rid of this doubt, this is when we just start speaking things and then they just begin happening. They begin actually materializing in our world because we're expecting them to happen. So several years ago, um, I was in a plant medicine journey. And the medicine told me something very, deep and profound and gave me very specific instructions. You need to do exactly this. I was like, "Hey, cool, this is great." So then I get home and I, tell my husband at the time, who was like, "Absolutely not. That is absolutely not happening. You're not doing this." And I was like, "Okay." So I put that aside. However, I still felt like it was the right thing. Like it had been telling me some information that was really accurate and that I needed to know. So then now, this is maybe 7 years later, I am now having that exact thing that the medicine had told me times 20 being presented to me saying, "Here, is this actually what you want?" And it's now come around full circle. So sometimes these things that come up to us, right? So I had that experience. I was told no. So then what happens? Well, maybe there was a bit of doubt that was in there. No, there wasn't any doubt. But what there was a mask of, okay, well, I know that this is right for me, but this is not acceptable to you. So I'm just going to pretend like that this is okay with me and I'm not going to, do that thing. Put the mask on. Why do we put these masks on? We do it to please other people. And what happens? This takes away from the miraculous things that want to come into our life. It takes away from it as soon as we put on that fakeness of, this is really what I want. And we dull ourselves down. We dull ourselves down to please other people. Why do we do this? We shouldn't be doing this. So what, once I finally left that situation where I was not supported and I was able to be in my own energy, then I understood exactly how these miraculous things were coming into fruition for me. So I was in a very high vibrational state because I had left a situation. So now I'm not having my energy drained. I'm not having it depleted. I just got it all to myself. And I was deeply studying the Christ letters. And so you will know if you have ever studied this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book, that the kingdom of heaven is within you, and that Christ and Muhammad and all of these spiritual teachers, what it was that they were doing was they were walking around, living their life, only emitting life-giving energy force out, only giving out love to everyone, everywhere, all the places, everywhere that they would go. They were just emitting love consciousness. This is why they could do the things that they were doing, because as electromagnetism returns to us whatever it is that we put forward, they knew this on the deepest level. And so they didn't want anything negative coming back to them, but they also understood, as I understand, that there is no point in putting anything negative out because it all returns back to the sender. And they understood, as I understand, that the people that harm us and the people that do these things to us, that we could get mad about or criticize or condemn, they are doing it because they are unaware of these laws of the universe and how it is that they work. And we don't need to create punishment for anybody. They do that all on their own. And he had great compassion and great sympathy for these people. I know for myself, when I would, drive down the street and I would see somebody and they were homeless. Think about this, you could be sending them, oh, pity. You could be sending them criticism. You could be sending them judgment. You could be sending them whatever you want to be sending them, or you could be sending them love. And what is more beneficial? What is going to help this person? Obviously, the love. So as we send out this love, there's no criticisms, there's no judgment, there's no anything that's in it. And what is happening to that person is they are actually receiving that love. They're actually receiving it from you, and it is doing something to them, whether you can see it or not. Prayer, a loving thought, a loving intention really is received by these people that we send them to. And when we send that out, the only thing that we're going to receive back through the laws of the universe is that same exact energy that we put out. So if you only extend loving consciousness out, it's the only thing that you will get back. Now, when Christ was out in the desert, he was hangry one day. And so he sees this fig tree and he knew that it was not the right time of year to have figs. He knew this, but he was hangry. And so he cursed this fig tree and he said, "May you never bear fruit again." He had a moment of weakness, right? This can happen when we're really hungry. Been there. Anyways, so the next day he goes out in the desert and he sees, and he is just filled with this moment of, oh, I can't believe what I've done, as he sees that this fig tree has withered to its roots. This almost makes me want to cry because his words had never caused harm to anyone ever again. And he knew that he would reap as he'd sown. And when he was up on the cross, he too was withered to his roots. And so sometimes we send these things out to people and we don't even know that we have done it. So when we are expecting some type of miracle, sometimes we are sending an attachment of some other kind of energy along with it. And then it doesn't come back to us. And then we think, well, these things don't happen to me. Or maybe we're even mad at God, mad at the divine, because we think, you've done this. Why do you do these things for other people and you don't do it for me? But it all comes back to the self. It is always all about us and what it was that we have sent out. Now, that example that I gave earlier, I said, when you're only sending out loving consciousness, it's all that you get back. Maybe you thought of a time when you sent somebody love and you didn't get that back. Well, if you were to truly examine your mind and you were to go back, I bet that there is a different situation that you could think of where you didn't send out that love and it has now returned back to roost. This is why we can't judge anything when it comes back, because it really is just returned to sender. At some point, we have sent something out, some belief, some words, some thought, some judgment, some something, and then it returns back and we go, why has this come back to me? I don't deserve this. But it's not about deserving. It's about the laws of the universe. What you send out at some point is going to return back to you. So this is why this is a wonderful, wonderful thing, because when we get rid of this doubt that is within us, then we can expect miraculous things to happen all the time. And the more that we speak it, the more that we will experience it. So here's the exercise that you guys could do today. You can just say to yourself, miraculous things, they happen to me all the time. Now, we can almost say this as an affirmation. Now, when you first speak that, how does it feel? Does it feel a little uncomfortable? Does it feel quite untrue to you, right? Ugh, kind of gives you like this, oh, that's not true feeling. We want to keep speaking this until it does actually feel true. I would give my clients these mirror mantras. So, you go and you look at your eyes in the mirror and you're telling yourself things. And I said to my one client, sometimes, I know for myself when I was doing this, it took 2 months before I would read that whole list and I would say it and I'd be like, yep, yep. Oh, that's true too. Ooh, that one's true too. Whereas when I first read the list, it was like, yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. Ooh, that one makes me feel uncomfortable. Okay, I'll keep saying it. And these things were making me feel uncomfortable. But this uncomfortable feeling is telling you that there's something within you that is blocking that truth. from being there, meaning there's some type of belief that is present that is not the truth. Because you'll know the truth and the truth will set you free. And anytime that you have this uncomfortable feeling, it's not the truth, because the truth will set you free, and it will set you free every single time. So reading that list, these ones are making me feel uncomfortable. And then now reading the list, none of them make me feel uncomfortable. I feel free because I'm now living in the truth. So this is the difference. So the challenge for you guys here today is say, miraculous and wonderful things happen to me all the time. Miraculous and wonderful things happen to me all the time. And begin to speak this. And then you're going to look for proof that miraculous and wonderful things happen for you all the time. And so the best way that you could do this is kind of go to the end of your day and think, what was the most wonderful part of my day? Isn't that almost miraculous in some way that, I could feel good, this good from just having a little conversation with somebody that I met on the street? Maybe that in itself is miraculous. And as you start to seek out and note these proofs that you're getting, pretty soon you are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and more miraculous proofs that show up in your life. I know for myself, I can't even go over the whole list of all the miraculous things that I've seen. It's almost as if we are continually jumping timelines. Like every time I leave the house, this is different. This didn't used to be like this anymore. That looks different. That didn't used to be like that anymore. And it's not, none of these things are even shocking to me anymore. I'm expecting it to be this way. And through my expectation of me seeing something different every single time I leave the house, and me expecting that we've jumped timelines and looking for proof of that, I'm now seeing that outside of me. Every time that I leave the house, I will see something like this because I'm expecting miraculous things to happen. Now, here's one thing that can block this, right? If we don't believe that we're worthy or that we're deserving or that for some reason that we speak and that the divine doesn't listen to us, then these are the things that need to be addressed within us. These are the things that we need to dive in really deep, tune into these places inside of us and ask, why are you here? What are you teaching me? Because none of these things are bad. We don't need to judge or criticize ourselves for the way that we feel about things. We just feel the way that we feel about these things. But we can investigate and we can ask ourselves, why is this feeling here? Why do I feel so unworthy of miraculous things? Why do I feel, this way? And then go in and take the time. And if you haven't the time, then make the time to go in really deep and ask yourself and clear these things. This is the energy that we're in right now. And specifically for the rest of this month of truly eliminating all of these things that have been weighing us down. We are in a time of letting go. We are in a time of illumination. So bringing light into these dark places inside of us. And anytime that triggers come up, anytime that these things come up, they are a blessing to you because you didn't know until that trigger came up that that part wasn't healed yet. You didn't know. But now that it's come up, now you're aware of it. Now you can shine some light on this place. But you do this by speaking to yourself, by asking yourself these questions. I know a lot of us, we seek outside sources, right? I get texts from friends and they, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, can you tune in and tell me this about the thing? And I love to do these things. And I love that my friends do this for me too. But here's the thing, we can get all of this information for ourselves. We don't need to seek it outside because we can get it directly from source, and especially when our consciousness is clean. If we are harboring anything that is not heavenly within us, like I said, Christ and Muhammad, all they're doing is radiating life force energy out there to everybody. They're literally radiating love to every single person that they came across and that they come across and that they speak to. When you do this, your energy is totally clear. It is made of light. It is made of purity. And therefore, you do constantly have a direct connection to source. And so when you speak your words, they are going to materialize because you understand on such a deep level how everything works. But when you don't have a clear consciousness, if you have things like anger or resentment or grief or pain or guilt or hurt or all of these things from the past that have not been dealt with, it is as if those things are clouds that are all around you that are clouding you from seeing, no, actually, these things were all blessings and they were all gifts. Yes, even that terrible box of darkness that you were gifted, it actually is a gift, even though it didn't appear that way, even though it didn't feel that way. And when we can understand that everything is working for us and that it's truly actually working for us every single second, then we stop the criticisms and we stop the judgments and we stop the resentments and we stop the hate and the anger. And pretty soon these clouds begin to clear away. And then we have that direct connection and we see things very differently. And this is when miraculous things just happen all the time because we expect them to. Now, one last example here is in changing the stoplights, pointing at the stoplights and saying green and just changing it. And in my mind's eye, it's green. There is no doubt that it is not going to change. And so then it will change. And then as you do this, so test this out for yourself. This is how you can know if you have any doubt within you, because if you don't have any doubt, it is going to work 100% of the time. I guarantee you, if you do not have any doubt, it will work. But if you do have doubt, it might not work. And you're going to feel that feeling of doubt. When you speak it, you're going to feel like a fraud. And so if you speak it and you got that doubt in you, oh, you're going to feel like the fraud. So then you're going to go into this feeling and you're going to speak to it and you're going to talk to it, because it is the only way that you can bring light into that part, is by acknowledging it and by speaking to it and by digging deep. And I can't do this for you, because the reason why you would have that will be completely different than why I would, or why any of the other billion people on the planet would. Only you know this. Only you truly know. And so as you go into these places inside of you and ask them and truly give yourself the time, you are special, you're important, you're valuable, and you really matter, and you're worthy of giving yourself that time. So give yourself that time to ask yourself, hey, why is this feeling here and how can I get rid of it? And you will tell you, your higher self will tell you exactly what it is that you need to do. And as you begin to do these things, you're going to feel a difference in your life. So this is what I help my clients do, is we dig into these things and we do regression work. So I take them into a subconscious healing state. It is the most effective way that you could possibly ever do healing. And I take them into this state and we bring up these feelings like doubt or anxiety or depression or whatever they've got. And then we follow it back and we heal it so that it is no longer present within them. And as it's no longer present, then they don't need any coping techniques. They don't need to talk themselves out of it. It's just not there anymore. It's actually out of their energy system and they have replaced it with light. And so they feel different. And then what do we want to do next? How can we keep leveling up? Anyways, this is what I have for you guys here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Expect miracles. Miraculous things happen to me every day. Keep speaking it, keep saying it until you truly feel it, and it will feel really powerful when you speak it, when you truly have embodied it and you don't have any doubt. This is what I have for you guys. You guys can follow me on the Real Healing Institute.com is my website, and the Real Healing Institute on YouTube is my podcast channel. And I also have a series on there called the Mental Cleanse series. This is a free subconscious healing series with over 40 videos in it that guide you to release things exactly like we talked about today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so excited about my next show coming up, so stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Thanks so much. Thank you for joining the Real Healing Institute show with me, Michelle Sinclair. Tune in every second and fourth Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com for more empowering ways to spread love and set yourself free. Together, we'll elevate the consciousness of the planet. Stay connected. Follow me on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and explore the Mental Cleanse series on YouTube. Ready to go deeper? Book a session with Michelle at therealhealinginstitute.com. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, and remember, love is the only way.